My, oh my, Phillies able to complete the sweep of the Chicago White Sox with that 8-2 victory. And wouldn't you know it, isn't that fitting as they go 8-2 on the 10-game homestand, capping it off with 6 consecutive wins to end this homestand before heading out of the road now for a 10-game road trip. Aaron Nola continued the dominance of the Phillies pitching, especially over the last 6 games. We'll break down the numbers for you over the last 6 starts. What these Phillies starters have been able to do, nothing short of spectacular for what you've been able to see from these Phillies starting pitchers, as well as the at-bats. They have been good ABs. They have been great hits from the Phillies. Alec continues to mash, and you're not going to believe the number from Trea Turner, how he has raised his batting average in the last 10 games since being at home. Not only is it just a 10-game hitting streak for Trea Turner, but he has upped his batting average significantly since returning to South Philadelphia, and only good things came out of what they were exactly supposed to do, exactly against this Chicago White Sox team that was struggling coming into South Philadelphia. The Southsiders mustering just 3 wins when they came in. They have mustered just 3 wins still on the young season. We'll break it all down and more. Right now, you're watching Philadelphia Phillies postcast on the Locked On Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel.
You are Locked On Phillies postcast, part of Locked On Sports Philadelphia on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
And let's not forget about the great people, of course, at eBay Motors. Hopefully you're taking advantage of all eBay Motors has to offer, because at eBay Motors, what you're missing out on is passion, drive, patience, and the formula for winning championships. It's also what keeps your ride or die alive. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay guaranteed fit only. Available to U.S. customers. Let's start it off with 3 big things, ladies and gentlemen. What we got is a huge thing from this Philadelphia Phillies team, and it's the starting pitching. Aaron Nola today, 8 innings. After surrendering 2 runs and a 2-run home run there in the first inning, he was able to just lock it down. Some great defense behind him, of course, but Aaron Nola on the hill today for the Phillies was able to lock it down after that first inning with another dominant performance. 7 strikeouts for him, and just whiffing batters again on his knuckle curveball, as well as his sinker, painting the corners today. Also for Aaron Nola, being able to see that from him was awesome. But what's even better than that is everybody over the last 6 games just being nothing but dominant. Here's the way it breaks down for your Philly starters over the last 6 games, including today where Aaron Nola pitched 8 innings of 2-run baseball. So now in 3 straight games, you have Philly starting pitching going into the 7th inning at least, going into the 8th inning as well for what they've been able to do. First off, let's not forget that Aaron Nola, this is his 2nd start of the homestand. His first start of the homestand, he was able to go up there against the Rockies. He pitched 7 1/3, allowing just 1 earned run. Ranger Suarez, complete game shutout. Then you have Christopher Sanchez going 6 innings. No earned runs for Christopher Sanchez. Then you have Spencer Turnbull coming out in the first game of this 3-game set when they started up this series against the Southsiders. Turnbull, of course, takes that no-hit bid into the 7th inning. He ends up logging 7 innings of no runs. 7 scoreless innings for Turnbull. Then last night you had Zach Wheeler go out there on the hill. He took a no-no into the 7th as well. 7 1/3 scoreless innings for Zach Wheeler. And then today, what do you have? You have Aaron Nola go out there. And you know what? He did us a favor, because, you know, when you take so many games, you know, so many no-hitters into the 7th or 8th inning, it gets played out. I couldn't stomach a 3rd in a row. Could you? Let's not get greedy. I kind of did feel better for Rob Thompson, because 3rd straight game, I didn't be concerned about whether or not I'm going to take my pitcher out of there and start. That's not good. Well, I don't believe in the phrase good problem to have, but it's a good problem to have if for 2 consecutive, possibly 3 consecutive games, you have to scratch your head and wonder whether or not you're going to give your starting pitcher the opportunity to log that no-hitter. If they're at 85 pitches, 90 pitches in the 7th or 8th inning, what are you going to do? Well, Nola relieved his skipper of that concern in the early goings of the game and was able to shut it down after that today. But again, 8 innings logged for him. So this Phillies bullpen's got to be feeling pretty good. pretty good. As long as you're not Gregory Soto or Pinto, for instance, then you got to be feeling good if you're a Phillies bullpen arm after this homestand. You got to be feeling pretty. So first and foremost, the number one big thing is looking at Aaron Nola and what this starting rotation was able to do for the Phils since the homestand began. After that, immediately after that, number 2 on the list, Trea Turner. Trea Turner started out this homestand, this 10-game homestand, where now he's got a 10-game hitting streak going for himself. He was batting .277, which isn't terrible. .277 nowadays in today's game of baseball is pretty good. If you're a $300 million player, you want it to be upped a little bit. But batting .277 coming into this series. Wouldn't you know it? He raises his batting average a total of 71 points. He is now hitting .348 on the season. He also ups his on-base percentage to over 400. He's .402. He came in on the day at over 400. .402. And he goes 1 for 4 today, 2 runs scored, able to work a walk, and gets an RBI. Trea Turner upping that batting average from .277 all of a sudden to .348. I heard Mike Schmidt just before I started the show here asking the question on the broadcast about, what's been working for you? What's been working for you, Trea Turner? A little slow start to the season, and then all of a sudden you're busting out in the 10-game homestand. Oh, well, just have a little bit more patience at the plate. Exactly! He's a much better hitter when he's got patience. When he's actually patient at the plate, he's 1,000 times much better hitter when he shows some patience at the plate. The swing has been extremely level. That's another thing that he got with Kevin Long on during the homestand. Just, hey, we need to work on some things, make sure I can find some more consistency for myself in the batter's box. And he was able to find that over the last 10 games here to the tune of. And by the way, I think he's got 6 multi-hit games in that 10-game hit streak. I might be shortchanging him there, but that is pretty amazing for Trea Turner. So you don't got to worry. You don't got to worry even a little bit about Trea Turner and turning it around later in the season. Seems like he's already done it. Love to see it from the Phillies shortstop. That's number 2. So you got Nola, you got Trea Turner. Let's talk Alec Bohm. What Alec Bohm has been able to do at the hot corner and at the plate, he's got another multi-hit game for himself, 3 for 5 on the day. No, unfortunately, another home run did not come his way today, but he drove in another run for the Phillies. And he has just been every bit of the hitter and the fielder you have wanted him to be coming into this season. Now, the power numbers as far as the home runs, I still believe they'll come. I think it's not overly optimistic to think of Alec Bohm still going on to hit 19 more home runs on the season to give him a total of 20 again. But when you look at the way he's going at the plate, you look at the way he's approaching, you look at the way how he's going with the pitch, that is a professional hitter. And that's the term that keeps on coming to mind when I watch Alec Bohm at the plate. Professional hitter. The more I watch him at third base, the more I think, Gold Glover. But the more I watch him at the plate, professional hitter. If he gets down in the count, 0-2, he comes roaring back and he makes it a bat of it, makes it a full count. Next thing you know, the pitcher's on his heels. He makes a bad pitch. Alec Bohm is able to tomahawk the ball left or right, and it just shows you how dominant he can be as a hitter, and he has been able to do that for quite some time during his big league career. But in the first month of this season, I've really started to see it take off for Alec Bohm, where I haven't really seen him. Should be 17 more home runs for him to get to 20 on the season. I shortchanged him the 2 home runs he had the other night. But when you look at him at the plate and that approach, that's what Alec Bohm brings to the table each and every time. A good approach at the plate, never panicking when he gets 2 strikes on him, and he is not afraid to wait for the mistake. And ultimately, I feel like a lot of hitters miss out. Nick Castellanos is one of them. But a lot of hitters did great last night. Not going to shortchange with that. But Alec Bohm is a guy that he's not afraid to wait for that mistake. The 2-homer game he had the other night where he put the ball into right field on the first pitch that was at his eyes. And then in his next at bat, he took a pitch to left center field that was down to the zone. 2 very different home runs, went with the pitch. Did the exact same thing today in all 3 at bats. If that's not what you can expect, if that's not a guy growing into his own as a quote unquote professional hitter, I don't know what is. And this is the improvement we have seen from him at the plate, becoming a little bit more of a disciplined hitter. He's always been a good hitter, but becoming that disciplined hitter at the plate has been great. And then what you saw from him today at third base just continued to show you that he has matured as a third baseman. And there was a couple of great examples of that today. And there was a situation there, I think it came up in the 3rd inning, as a matter of fact. Aaron Nola was being his typical Aaron Nola self. He'd already had 2 outs in the inning, already struck out Grossman on a knuckle curve looking away, and Grossman just took it. And then Jimenez steps up to the plate, hits a sharp ground ball to Alec Bohm at third base, who dives to his left, smothers it, pops up, fires to first, and then it wasn't a great throw, but it was a hurried throw, and Bryce Harper was able to pick it. But that was the first great play that Alec Bohm made at third base today. You continue to go down a little bit more in the game. The very next inning, you have Sheets leading off with a double, so you have Aaron Nola on the ropes again. And what happened was Alec Bohm let the ball drop. Now, this is important. If Alec Bohm just goes right after that ball on the bunt by Benintendi, for instance, if he just doesn't break it to that ball, and he's the only one running into no man's land to make the play, you have Sheets, who led off the inning with a double, taking third base. So the next thing you know, you're going to have 1 out with a runner on third. A grounder to the right side of the infield, anything to the outfield, you could score that run. Sack fly can score that run. But what ends up happening is Sheets stays at second base because Bohm goes into no man's land. I guess Sheets thought that he was going to catch it. He stays there at second base. Bohm bare hands the baseball, and he's able to get the out at first base. So right away, now you have a runner on second instead of third with 1 out. And Bohm made a phenomenal play on it. You also, if he doesn't make that play, the easiest way to look at it is that you have a runner on first and second with nobody out, and Aaron Nola is really on the ropes. But Bohm playing the third base bag that he has played really for the last 2 seasons, ever since I hate this bleeping place, off the charts awesome. So you see him make that play. Made another couple plays there in the outfield. Made another great play there for Marte to help him out as well in the 9th inning to get Jimenez again. Jimenez is going to be having nightmares at Alec Bohm. He's going to be looking under his bed for Alec Bohm. That's what's going to happen for Jimenez of the White Sox. So you get out of that inning. Marte gets out of the inning. Everything's fine and dandy. Phillies wrap it up with an 8-2 victory. So Nola, number 1. His performance today was fantastic, continuing the dominance of the Phillies starting pitching. Trea Turner, of course, raising his batting average, 71 points. And then Alec Bohm, a 3-hit day for him, and one heck of a homestand as well. You'll take it each and every time from Alec Bohm. When we come back, we're going to take a look at this lineup a little bit further and see who could be coming around in terms of turning their season around from the struggles that they've experienced through the first month of the season. April 21st already. We're encroaching really on the first month of the season, and we also have some great history lending itself to the Phils. We'll tell you guys about that after a word from our awesome sponsors here on Phillies POSTCAST. Oh, how about eBay Motors? You heard me talking earlier about the passion, the drive, and the patience. The formula for winning championships is what keeps that ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED lights, and so much more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay's guaranteed fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need and all the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. That's ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay guaranteed fit only available to U.S. customers. Oof. Listen up. Listen up to this. You don't want to miss out on this. Guys, huge announcement. I've been tracking the leaderboards on Monopoly Go. Keep my eye on the scores, putting all my heart into it. And I am super pumped to announce I am finally on top in my friend group for Monopoly Go. If you guys haven't downloaded Monopoly Go just yet, what are you waiting for? I know you've heard of it. It's already been downloaded 150 million times. It's a great mobile twist on classic Monopoly, and you can play it anywhere, anytime. You'll explore hundreds of Monopoly boards from Las Vegas to Camelot to the moon, all while raking in huge fortune while you do it. You could charge rent on iconic properties, just like the classic Monopoly. You could charge your friends rent on your iconic properties as well, or go after their Monopoly money by pulling bank heists and taking wrecking balls to their landmarks. This is the fun of Monopoly Go. If you enjoyed Monopoly Classic, you'll enjoy Monopoly Go. My favorite part, the leaderboard. Once again, finally on top of my friend group, Monopoly Tycoon. I get to be the Monopoly Tycoon this time around. So rake in the huge fortune, just like me, and beat your friends at Monopoly Go and see who goes bankrupt. So go get yourself on the charts. Download Monopoly Go. Join 150 million times downloaded. Be one of them. And now it's free on the App Store as well as the Google Play Store. Download Monopoly Go at the App Store or Google Play Store right now. So Nick Castellanos. Now, last night we had an interesting night. Last night we had the 76ers taking on the Knicks in game 1, and we did a 76ers postcast for that game, so we didn't get to break down the Phillies from last night. But last night, for Nick Castellanos, unfortunately today, old Casty took the collar. He was 0 for 4 on the night. However, one of the things I had gotten into on Friday's show was that Nick Castellanos looked like he was just about to turn things around. He looked like he was close. Maybe not necessarily hitting a home run yet, but at least being a guy that was going to be able to get on base, a guy that was going to be able to hit the gaps, a guy that was going to be able to get you maybe an extra base hit. So what does he end up doing last night, Saturday night? He ends up getting 3 hits in the ball game the day after. You and I talked about what he could be turning on to help this Phillies team rake in some wins. Not only does he get his first extra base hit, folks, he gets a triple in the process. Granted, the ball had to bounce off the top of the wall for old Nick Castellanos, who we all know Nicky 3 buttons isn't exactly fleet of foot. But nonetheless, he goes out there last night and he gets a triple. He stands on third base. He's eventually brought in by Johan Rojas, of all people. Then, unfortunately, he hits the reset button on any good momentum that he set up for himself with his performance Saturday night. And again, he takes the collar today. The one thing that I will say about Nick Castellanos in tonight's game, this afternoon's game, I should say, 1 strikeout. Nick Castellanos, and this might be the easiest thing and the coldest take of all because it's just reporting the news. It's just reporting a fact. When Nick Castellanos continues to flail at those outside pitches, that's when you see him really struggling, and that's when you see him really lost at the plate. When he's not recognizing that the slider is going to be thrown low and away and that the pitcher knows the scouting report going into it, and instead of waiting on that pitch and waiting for it to just drift off the plate or maybe even start off the plate and not be expecting that inside fastball that he thinks coming every single time, he shows that he can recognize the pitch. He can recognize that this is how guys love to get him out, and he can show that patience at the plate. When he's doing that and he's recognizing the pitch out of the pitcher's hand, that's when he starts to show you that he could be that guy that can actually rake in some runs, hit some gaps, and then later in the season, knock some balls out of the ballpark. That's what Nick Castellanos can show you. Now, today, 0 for 4, nothing really worth bragging about for Nick Castellanos for tonight. But now they'll go on this road trip. 10-game road trip, and whatever was working for him at home, just in terms of making that good contact, not being sat down so many times with strikeouts and swing and misses about those pitches that are on the outside, not even the outside corner of the plate, but just outside, point blank, outside. That's the guy that can turn it around. I'm going to hold out hope that that's eventually what's going to happen. But as we talk about Nick Castellanos and what he could do, we could talk about another hitter in this lineup. As I said before the break, a guy that looks like he is certainly starting to turn things around for him, and that's Johan Rojas. Rojas goes out there today. He gets you 2 hits. Now, I mentioned a little bit ago what Trea Turner had been able to do coming into this homestand. 277 on the season. Johan Rojas, we're talking about him just a little bit ago as a guy that is not figuring it out. We're talking about is whether or not the Phillies are going to be sending him down. As I have told you since we started doing the postcasts in a couple of games into the season, Johan Rojas is going to get those opportunities to sink or swim, to swim beautifully or to at least learn how to doggy paddle this season. And Johan Rojas now, over his last 3 games, Johan Rojas, last three games, 7 hits. Johan Rojas has a modest 3-game hit streak going. And over his last 3 games, he has raised his batting average, I thought Trea Turner was something, from 167 to 164. Was it 97 points? Trea Turner ups his average 71 points. 97 points is what Johan Rojas does for you in his performance today. he's a 9-hole hitter. You shouldn't have huge expectations for Johan Rojas. But while we're keeping track, Johan Rojas and his 267 batting average, 264 batting average, is now better than Bryson Stott's 224, Nick Castellanos 177, JT Realmuto's 233, Bryce Harper's 241, and Kyle Schwarber, of course, 217. But I mean, did he even compete with Kyle Schwarber? I mean, Kyle Schwarber hitting over 200. It's like, unfortunately, it's like he's Ted Williams. Okay, that's a 217 for Kyle Schwarber. Feels like 400 right now. Okay, but bottom line for Johan Rojas, he was going to get those opportunities. If you knew he could struggle in spring training and still make the big league ball club, then you know he's going to get the opportunity to sink or swim. And if he was going to sink, better learn how to at least doggy paddle, son. And so far this season, he has had his struggles, but more recently, he started to turn that around. I mean, you're talking about a guy who was barely hitting, he was hitting around 200 with luck on his side before this homestand started. And now he has started to put it a little bit together. Talking about a guy who hit over 300 last year in his limited time, but did it. Shows you that he could at least hit a little bit, and showed you that if he did hit or at least worked walks and got on base, by the way, his on-base percentage is up to 328 now. He can steal bases for you. He can eke out infield singles with some luck on his side. The bunting game for him still has yet to come along, but that's really when you'll see him start to show off that speed. He's been able to do that. The bunting will come. Everything else seems like it is coming on down the line with some consistency. And that helps for a guy building his confidence. We know in the outfield he can run anything down. We know in the outfield he can play with a lot of consistency in that regard and just great every time. But at the plate, that's where you want to see that consistency come from Johan Rojas. And we even said before the season, what I said before the year, he was going to get the opportunity to fail, and he's going to get the opportunity to pull himself out of his failures. We know what else he's going to get. Excuse me. The other thing, that he was saying before the game, we were saying before the season was Johan Rojas. If you're depending on your 9-hole hitter to bail out your cleanup hitter, your 3-hole hitter, 6-hole hitter, 7-hole hitter, whatever, Nick Castellanos, wherever he's batting in the lineup, well, then you got bigger problems than Johan Rojas. Well, here we are. Johan Rojas, his third consecutive multi-hit game, 7 hits in 3 days, raising his average nearly 100 points in the homestand. I'd say that's pretty good. And that's exactly what you want to see, the progression. Who knows? He stays hot. Maybe they're going to start pitching him different. They'll adjust to him, then he's got to adjust back. Yeah, that's how it goes. That's the way the ball bounces. But you're seeing him come through at the plate with a lot of different things to help this Phillies club win some ball games, and you absolutely love to see that. All right, before I hit the break here, let me. I got a comment I want to get in here. Go Sixers is not going to let me live this down. Yes, I said I'd trade Alec. That was last year for Nola and Arenado. Hey, maybe Arenado saves you against the Diamondbacks last year. Huh? I know Bohm wasn't, so take that. Put that in your pipe, Go Sixers. How them Sixers doing? I'm not going to throw that in your face. I was saddened, too, at last night's loss. All right. Yeah. When we come back, little piece of history for the Phillies and what they were able to do with this win in particular over the Southsiders. So we'll get to that in a second when we return right here on Phillies Postcast on the Locked On Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. How much fun you having on FanDuel? Are you having fun on FanDuel? You should be having some fun on FanDuel. People of FanDuel, ladies and gentlemen, should have yourself a good time. It's time for the playoffs in the NBA and the NHL. Baseball, as we well know, is in full swing also, and FanDuel is your place to bet on every game. And right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed. What? Yeah. $150 in bonus bets guaranteed, win or lose. Bet on everything from slap shots to home runs to slam dunks to strikeouts to rebounds. Really would have made out on the over last night on FanDuel with the Knicks just dominating the boards on the Sixers, unfortunately. But it's all in the app, and it's safe, secure, and easy to use. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon. That's FanDuel.com/lockedon and make your first bet an automatic win. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. As promised, little piece of history. The Philadelphia Phillies, according to the broadcast tonight, it's their best start, 14-8. 14-8 is their best start since 2018. And if I'm not mistaken, 2018 was one of the many years that they had where they were just really good to start out the season. And then the August and September implosion happened, and they were pretty terrible. And then how about this? 5th best record through 22 games in the past 30 seasons. 5th best record through their first 22 games in 30 seasons. 30 seasons. So does that include 1994? There was the strike years. 93. The 93 Phillies. That would be almost 30 years ago. Well, 31 years ago, excuse me. That's it's pretty spectacular. The start the Phillies are off to. Now, if you remember, the Phillies did not start off the season well. They did not start off the season well, even a little bit. But you know what they've done? You know what they've done? They haven't lost a series since they faced the Cincinnati Reds at home in their second series of the season. They lost to the Braves. Then they lost 2 of 3. They lost 2 of 3 to the Braves. Then they lost 2 of 3 to the Reds. And since then, they have not lost a series. The closest thing that they have done is split that 4-game series at home when this 10-game homestand started, against the Pittsburgh Pirates. That's the only time they haven't won a series since their second series of the season. They take this 6-game winning streak now and this 8-2 record in the last 10 games on the road to face Cincinnati. And they will face the Reds and start off this 10-game road trip with a 4-game set against the Cincinnati Reds, then 3 in San Diego as they go out west, and then after that they'll play 3 against the Los Angeles Angels. So you'll see that. Ranger Suarez will get the start tomorrow night. They start right back up. No days off for this Phillies team. Their next day off isn't until not this coming Thursday, but the following Thursday. A week from Thursday, the Phillies will get back at it. So May 2nd, they'll be off. So they'll be at it in a long while. Ranger Suarez will get the start tomorrow night in Cincinnati. It'll be a 6:40 start time. Hunter Green will get the start in that one. A 24-year-old right-handed pitcher, 0-1 on the season with a 4.35 ERA. He did not face the Phillies in that second series of the season in South Philadelphia. He's coming off a 4-inning performance where he walked 3, struck out 8 against the Seattle Mariners, going just 4 innings, allowing 4 hits. It ended up being a 3-1 loss for the Reds. Now, Ranger Suarez will get the ball for the Phillies in that game. Tomorrow night, we will not be with you because we'll be having Sixers coverage for a 76ers postcast as they play Game 2 of their Eastern Conference first-round series against the New York Knicks. But Suarez, of course, coming off his second career complete game shutout. He'll be looking to build on that as the Phillies head to Cincinnati to start up that 3-game series tomorrow night at 6:40. So that's exciting. That's what you can't wait for. One final thought on this whole homestand here. This is why you can't lose your mind over the start of a season. Now, you could say that I might be going the opposite direction. I'm losing my mind over a good start to the season. I'm not doing that just yet. The White Sox suck, okay? The Chicago White Sox are terrible. And you need no further evidence than what went down in the first inning after Aaron Nola surrendered that 2-run home run to Jimenez. 2-run home run, you're down 2-0. Bottom of the first inning comes up there. Kyle Schwarber works a 4-pitch walk. Nastrini was the starting pitcher for the White Sox tonight, and he couldn't find the strike zone to save his life, especially in that first inning. Although Trea Turner was able to work a walk after being down in the count 0-2. Then Harper steps up there, gets the RBI single. Real Muto strikes out on a 3-2 pitch. Harper gets caught in a rundown between first and second, and this is where the Chicago White Soxed the heck out of this play. Turner standing on third base. He starts going for home during the rundown that Harper's caught in between first and second. Then you see their second baseman, Lennon Sosa, fire home and fire wide of home plate. Ball goes to the backstop. Turner scores, gets credited. Speaking of history, gets credited for it. Later gets credited because originally it was just an error, but then gets credited for stealing home. It's his 40th consecutive stolen base. He now passes Jimmy Rollins for the third best all-time consecutive stolen base streak. Go figure. Harper then takes second base after he was dead to rights out between first and second. So you have another run score. Harper in scoring position now at second base. All on a strikeout from JT Realmuto. Then Harper takes second. Bohm flies out to center field. Marr steps up with an RBI single to right field. Castellanos strikes out and ends up being a 31-pitch inning for Nick Nastrini. And then by the time it was closed, you were down in the game 2-0 at the start of the first inning. You score 3 runs in the bottom of the first inning. It's a 3-2 game coming out of it. Fourth inning, Phillies tack on some more runs with Johan Rojas leading things off with that bloop single to left field in the fourth. Then Schwarber worked his second walk of the game. Turner goes up there, gets an RBI single. Schwarber takes third, Turner to second. They then bring in Banks out of the bullpen, the lefty to face Harper. Harper's able to get a sac fly RBI to left field. It's now 5-2. Realmuto strikes out. Bohm with an RBI double. Grossman ends up falling, and it looked like he was falling in that particular play. It looked like he was falling for like 5 minutes. Grossman hits the ground. It's now a 6-2 Phillies game. Schwarber then goes up there in the sixth inning with a home run to right field, 423 feet down the right field line. Just wrapped it around the fair pole for his 6th home run of the season. 7-2, 8-2 on Schwarber's sac fly RBI. I love that Kyle Schwarber, by the way, was standing atop the dugout after his sac fly, looking to high-five Bryce and Stott. Because if Stott doesn't tag up and score on that play, Schwarber just flies out. And instead of being 1 for 1 with 3 walks on the day, I think that's what he ended up being with, he'd be 1 for 2. So he doesn't remain perfect. Yeah, 3 walks. So there you go. 3 walks, 3 runs scored, 2 runs batted in. Not too shabby. As I said, Phillies will start a 4-game series with the Reds coming up tomorrow night, 6:40 in Cincinnati. Not just a 4-game series, but a 10-game road trip as well. Phillies 14-8. Let's hope by the time we do this again, which will be on Tuesday, the Phillies will then be at 15-8. So let's hope for that win tomorrow night. Thanks for watching this Locked On Philadelphia Phillies postcast on the Locked On Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. My name is Mark Farzetta. Make sure you guys hit like, subscribe, and all that good stuff. We'll be breaking it down for you tomorrow night when the Sixers and Knicks tip off their second game of the first-round playoff series of the Eastern Conference. My name is Mark Farzetta. Hit like, subscribe, and all that good stuff. Smash that like button. Smash that subscribe button. Be back with you guys tomorrow night to break down the Sixers for a 76ers postcast. Until then, this has been a Philadelphia Phillies postcast on the Locked On Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. Catch you guys tomorrow. See ya.